Topical back with another video. I'm Strange Wang, and we're doing our Rotten Tomatoes guessing game. For what, you may ask? My favorite movies. How well do I know these movies? I don't know. We're fixing to find out.
All right, so first up we have 1990s Goodfellas.
Goodfellas is fucking amazing, obviously. So I'm going to have to say Goodfellas would be at a 94% of Rotten Tomatoes.
Pretty close. It's a 96.
96. See, it was violent. I don't know, violence back then was perceived a certain way. So I was like, but I was close.
All right, next up, I couldn't go with the original. I feel like it's too easy. You probably know what the Rotten Tomatoes score on it is. So I went with Rocky 2.
Rocky 2. Oof. Rocky 2. 86% of Rotten Tomatoes.
71.
71. Hogwash. That's what I say about that.
All right, next up, a movie we both love a lot, mid-90s.
Mid-90s. See, this is interesting because this is one of those where my heart says it should be, but because of society we live in, and that movie uses certain F words and other words that aren't appropriate. Well, they're not appropriate then either, I guess, but a different time, you know what I'm saying? So some critics probably saw that and was like turned off by it immediately. So I want to say like 97, but realistically it's probably at like a 86, 87, 86.
We are both going to be very disappointed. It is critically fresh at 80%.
Hogwash again. That, I gotta bump that sucker up.
All right, next up, we have 1989's When Harry Met Sally.
Oof, this is a good one. A very good one. But it's a romantic comedy, so people probably were more snooty about it, but maybe not. Because Rob Reiner, he just came off all those excellent movies. So I'm going to keep with the sixes. I'm going to go 96.
91%.
God damn it. That movie should be higher too. Some of the best, greatest dialogue in history of film.
All right, next up, we have one of the most beloved actors playing one of the most beloved people in American history. We have A Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood.
Again, I don't know, man. I was going to go with the 6, but I'm going to go with a 98% Rotten Tomatoes. I don't know how you could dislike this movie, so it has to be very high up there.
It is pretty high up there. It is at a 95.
Yeah, it needs to be a little bit higher, personally.
All right, next up, we have an 80s classic about a sociopath dragging his friends along to do crazy things throughout his day off, and it's Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
Oh, I thought you were talking about another movie. Ferris Bueller's Day Off. Man. Because, like, Rotten Tomatoes is a pretty new website if you look at, like, the big timeline of history. So how many people saw that movie after it came out or saw it when they was kids and just, like, raised the score of it? 84%.
Man, you are all around the mark today. It is a 81%.
Gosh.
Just can't quite get them.
Okay.
All right, next up, we have... I mean, it can feel like it goes back and forth between what we think the best Tarantino movie is. It's Django Unchained.
It was another one kind of like mid-90s. The N-word were used so much and Spike Lee spoke out about it, and probably a bunch of people felt the same way. But also, a bunch of people love this movie. A bunch of people I know love this movie. I've never met anyone who dislikes this movie. But those people aren't like your film savants like we like to think we are. So I'm going to have to go with a... God. My heart says this film should be in the 90s. But my mind says it's probably around like a 80... I use the N word a lot. 83%?
Ooh, you undershot it.
Under.
It's at an 87%.
Thank goodness.
Yeah.
That's a little bit better. I still think it should be in the mid 90s.
We already did the mid-90s. All right, next up we have a Kubrick classic, A Clockwork Orange.
See, this is what I thought you was talking about before, but you was actually talking about Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
Well, I said an 80s movie when I started with Ferris Bueller.
Yeah, I guess I wasn't really paying attention. Clockwork Orange. I said it for two of the other films again. This film was X-rated. It will probably turn a lot of people's heads negatively, but I really enjoy it. It is Stanley Kubrick again. It's been out for a very long time. Rotten Tomatoes is a somewhat recent website, so all those Kubrick heads probably came up, bumped up the score a little bit. But is it enough to be in the 90s? Probably not. I'm going to go with the old Django score of 87%.
Oof. Your closest one yet. It's 86.
Jeez.
All right, next up, cult classic, a film you introduced me to when I was sick, like I am now, that I've ended up loving as well. It's Big Trouble in Little China.
Yeah, this movie's incredible. That's interesting. This is the first like real cult classic on the list. So, jeez. Like again, like all these movies, I think they should be in the 90s, but most of them are like critically well received and have been in the 80s. This is a cult classic, so I'm thinking high 70s, low 80s. Because I love Kurt Russell so damn much, I'm gonna give it a 82% of Rotten Tomatoes.
Yeah, you're still in the ballpark. You're 4 off. It's a 78. But you had the audience score, right?
That's too low.
Yeah.
That's too low. The audience know what they was talking about.
And finally, we have what I at least know at times has been your favorite movie. I guess it changes sometimes, but we have A Bronx Tale.
A Bronx Tale and Rocky are just, they're neck and neck. I would give Bronx Tale the edge. If they're Rotten Tomato scores, Bronx Tale would have 1% higher than Rocky. But Bronx Tale, I think that's a damn near perfect movie. But there's a couple things I could see where it get off, and I do mean a couple. So because a couple means 2, I'm gonna go 2. Well, it'd be a correct math would be 100 minus 2. So I'm gonna go 98% fresh on Rotten Tomatoes.
It is currently at, you said 98?
98.
You're off by 1 again. It is a 97% on Rotten Tomatoes, which is 3 higher than Rocky.
I was really hoping you was gonna say 99. I'm like,
Yeah.
hell yeah, son. That's what I'm talking about. But like usual, I got none of them right. But it is fun getting close. If you guessed with me and got one right, tell me down in the comment section which one you got right. Or if you disagree with some of these scores like I do, clearly, because they should all be in the high 90s if you Strange Wayne, but they're not. Tell us down in the comment section as well. Scroll back up, hit the like button, share the video, and subscribe.